We are failing the future of Texas when we aren't investing in public education in the state of Texas. And make no mistake about it, the impact of that will be felt. It will be felt by teachers who are already overburdened. It will be felt by families who send their school children to schools in overcrowded classrooms. It will be felt in the quality of public education. And it will be felt in these statistics. 44th right now. What will we be after this budget passes and after this funding plan is adopted? What will we be? It's likely that we will be dead last in the amount of money that we spend as a state to invest in the future of our state, to invest in the future of our children. A letter from Lori Plamadon from Arlington. Please fix school funding. In 2006, the legislature forced everyone to reduce property taxes, promising that lost revenue to schools would be made up in business taxes. That did not happen, and we have been cutting for 4 years now. There are not billions left to cut. Please use rainy day funds to keep our schools afloat while you figure out a better way to fund our schools. From Deborah Watts in Crowley. Stop budget cuts in education. Our children are the ones that will suffer. This is the future of America in our hands. Please look at other programs that are not necessary at this time. Cutting education funding is not an option. I expect you will fight to have our words heard. From Jeannie Dykeman, a principal. As you continue to make decisions regarding one of the largest shortfalls in state history, I'm asking you to find a way to keep public school financial cuts to a minimum. I understand that many behind-the-scenes decisions are still being discussed and adjusted. The amount of revenue that legislators are choosing to cut will have a profound impact on the future of our state. I know you are dedicated to serving the state of Texas, including students and educators. Please consider ways to financially support public schools and make a positive impact on the hugely important task of educating our future. From Ginger Polster in Arlington. Dear Ms. Davis, as you prepare to tackle one of the largest shortfalls in state history, I'm asking you to find a way to keep public education cuts to a minimum. As discussion continues and decisions are made, I'm asking you to please support amendments that reinstate current law with respect for funding. It's imperative that career and technical education continue to receive funding in order to prepare our students for a competitive global workforce and to provide the level of instruction required to give them the knowledge and skills they will need to be successful. The education of Texas students today will have a direct impact on the future of our state. I know you are dedicated to serving your constituents. The decisions regarding public school funding are important to me and to my school district. From Susan Avery in Fort Worth. Dear Senator Davis, some of the measures that are being proposed in order to balance the budget are ones that could have long-term and even permanent negative consequences for public education, jobs, health and human services, public safety, and environmental issues in Texas. The Rainy Day Fund could prevent some of these cuts, so I'm asking why the Rainy Day Fund is not being used for its intended purpose. If added to the new budget, these dollars could save jobs and possibly lives. Please do not impose budget cuts that harm school children, the elderly, the sick, people with disabilities, and college students. I ask that you have the courage to do right by the people of Texas. Please take a balanced approach to a balanced budget that includes spending all of the Rainy Day Fund and adding more revenue by eliminating tax exemptions and closing corporate loopholes. I would like to believe you will vote for what is best for the people of Texas instead of what you want. From Karen Kuntz in Arlington. Dear Senator Davis, as you continue to tackle one of the largest shortfalls in state history, I'm begging you to find a way to keep public education cuts to a minimum and to use the rainy day fund to make up for some of the state revenue shortfall. The education of Texas students today will have a direct impact on the future of our state. I know you are dedicated to serving your constituents. The decisions regarding public school funding are important to me, my children, my grandchildren, and my school district. Please vote for education. From Michael Pringle, a 5th grade teacher in Arlington. Dear Senator, I am a teacher of 35 years. I am married to a teacher and have 2 children who have chosen to be educators. As educators, we are crying out for your vote. As grandparents and parents, we are praying for your wisdom. Please consider the children of today. We have funds now to use. Please do not sacrifice our children as we save funds for another day. Today is the rainy day. From Emily Gonzalez in Arlington, Senator Davis, show your support for Texas education by attending our rally and using the state rainy day fund to solve the budget shortfall. From Kathy Slagle, dear Senator Davis, I'm asking you to stick your neck out for education funding in Texas and ensure funding to public schools is maintained at the current level. As you are aware, property taxes are a major funding mechanism local governments use to fund their schools. Due to record foreclosures, public schools all over Texas are already facing big shortfalls. If state funding to public schools is reduced, the situation will go from bad to worse. Please ensure this doesn't happen. Our kids are depending on you. Why should education be a sacred cow? Because it's about our children. It's our future, and it's our neighbors and our communities. Education is supposed to be a priority in Texas. Does that still stand true? These are trying economic times. Everybody knows that. But we must have a bottom line, a limit economically and philosophically that we will not cross. Let education be our bottom line here in Texas. Please do what you can to restore funding to public schools in the state budget. From Ruth Lucas in Colleyville, I am a teacher in Bedford, Texas, and urge you to vote in favor of using all of the rainy day fund to make sure the education of the students in Texas does not suffer. Increasing class sizes, eliminating worthwhile programs, and laying off teachers, administrators, and specialists will directly affect the learning of students all across the state. Please speak out for the children who deserve the best learning conditions possible. Use the rainy day fund when it was critically needed, now. Please don't let educational standards be lowered when Texas is already performing below most other states in our country. From Elizabeth Williams in Arlington, Senator Davis, I simply wanted to let you know that I am extremely concerned and distraught over the news that I've been given about the proposed cuts to public education spending. I am absolutely against these cuts. I strongly believe that it is crucial for us to find the money to support public education in this state. My son, who is in 7th grade now, was able to participate in orchestra as early as 5th grade. I was truly amazed at how much he benefited from this program and by how much he learned. If the state makes the proposed cuts to public education, future 5th and 6th graders will no longer be able to participate in this program. I am also aware that numerous other important programs in our district will suffer if these cuts take place. I have 2 more children who will be going through the school system, and I don't want them to receive any less of an education than my oldest. If making sure that the children in Texas receive a high-quality education is not a top priority, if this is not an emergency, then what is? Please consider the future of our great state before you support these cuts. From Elizabeth Hellier in Arlington, dear Senator Davis, as the parent of a student at Martin High School, I'm deeply concerned about the lack of financial support public education is receiving from our Texas legislature. I urge you to fund public education appropriately. Without your help, public education in Arlington will severely suffer This will not be a good thing for your constituents and their families. Use the $9.3 billion Texas Rainy Day Fund to support schools. From Don Harp, please, from Arlington, please do not cut funds for Texas public education. I think this is penny-wise and pound-foolish. There must be other places to cut. And also, Texas could increase the severance taxes on the oil and gas industries. They seem to have weathered the current recession just fine. From Sudan Nelson Velasquez in Fort Worth, hello. I am a new resident of Fort Worth, Texas as of February this year. I work full-time for CPS and am currently attending UT Arlington to obtain my master's degree. I was told today that the school district is eliminating the bus services for children within the city limits of Burleson and Fort Worth. I cannot lose my job or stop attending school because of this awful proposal. I have contacted a few neighbors today, and they were not even aware, and they also would not be able to go without the bus services. In this economy, we cannot afford the after-school program. I am in desperate need to know what to do to stir up the community as well as our representatives to become aware of what a travesty this would be for so many students and their parents. I would appreciate your input and advice. From the students of Boulevard Heights, hello, we need more teachers in Texas. We need more money for education. The reason why we need more teachers is because we're getting more students. If the teachers get fired, then we won't get enough education to go to college. We need money from taxes to pay for education. In that way, we can get our education and learn. We worry that more students might flunk out of school, and then they won't know how to read and won't get their education. This email was typed by special education teacher Brad Webb from input from the students at Boulevard Heights School Behavior Improvement Classroom. From Lynn Sisk in Fort Worth, please work to support the education of the children of Texas. There is nothing more important for the future of Texas, the U.S., and the world. The health and education of our children should be our main priority. Please work to release the Rainy Day Fund for the education of our children. They are our future. From Janice Stapleton in Arlington. As you prepare to tackle one of the largest shortfalls in state history, I'm asking you to find a way to keep public education cuts to a minimum and to use the Rainy Day Fund to make up for some of the state's revenue shortfall. From Jody Garcia in Fort Worth. Do not support budget cuts to education. Education is the single most important foundation given to the people of the United States. By cutting budgets, the state is expecting school districts to operate on insufficient funds and required to adhere to mandates that go unfunded, and this is not acceptable. I support revenue increases to fund education. Our education system in Texas is at great risk. Costs to operate schools have increased, and the state continues to not support its education system financially. Increased class size, increased student-to-staff ratio, decreased support by eliminating grants and programs is not the answer. I understand in these hard financial times cutting spending is the trend, but at what cost? I do not believe our children should pay the price. Do not support education budget cuts. The state needs to raise revenue or reallocate revenue to support its education system, or we all fail. From Mary McGowan in Grand Prairie, first let me thank you for your service to your constituents by making tough decisions daily in your effort to do what is best for the state of Texas. As a parent of 3 educators and a Texas citizen, I'm very concerned about our state's current budget shortfall and its effect on our public education. The education of our students today will have a direct impact on the future of Texas. I personally hope that such a future holds a state and country full of educated, morally minded, and well-rounded adults. I know you are dedicated to serving your constituents, and as one, I urge you to keep education cuts to a minimum by using the $9.3 billion Rainy Day Fund. Thank you for taking this into consideration as you prepare to determine the best solution for our budget deficit. From Matthew Taylor in Hearst, I am very concerned about the welfare of our children's education and the loss of teachers in our schools. If you vote for a budget that takes away money from Texas public school or wait until June to make a decision, I will be sure to vote for your opponent in the next election and will encourage as many as I can to do the same. I feel our representatives are not hearing their people, and they only send a message when they want our vote. Please keep education and teachers the top priority and use whatever funds are available to keep education a priority. From Aaron Wilhite in Arlington, dear Senator Davis, please keep public education cuts to a minimum. I urge you to use the rainy day fund to make up for some of the state's revenue shortfall. The children of Arlington ISD really need you. If Texas wants to attract major businesses to our state, then we must have a thriving educational system and workforce. If we want to produce competitive and educational competent citizens, then we need to provide local education agencies with the resources necessary to be successful. Please help us. From Joanne Salas in Arlington, please save our schools, educators, families, and students from losing vital programs and teachers due to the lack of action in Austin to release and acquire funding for education. We should not have to deal with this crisis district by district, county by county. Our state should come forward and support us. Thank you. From Natalie Scott in Arlington, dear Senator Davis, I'm deeply concerned about the proposed budget cuts to our education system. My son is a first grader at Sherrod Elementary in Arlington, and as a parent, I'm horrified that his school stands to lose 15 probationary teachers, the tip of the iceberg, next year to recoup losses in funding. I strongly oppose this grave injustice as a mother, an Arlington resident, and a voter. I ask you to do all in your power to stop this storm before it starts and save the future of our district and education in the great state of Texas.